So you're saying, what is the definition of duty cycle during the average time for RF exposure, the percentage of time that transmitter is transmitting? I'm not saying yes or no. I'm letting you guys do this, and we'll see if we passed. Peng, I don't think you have a phone, so you can just text me if you can. Which of the following is an accepted practice to get the immediate attention of net control station when reporting an emergency? Ronald, you're up next.
Okay.
Okay.
You're not referring to this question.
No, this is Peng's question. I think Peng is with us. Peng, are you with us? If you're with us, he isn't lit up, so I don't know if he's with us or not. I didn't get an acknowledgement from him. So Ronald, I'm going to make this your question.
Okay. My problem is this is not the verbiage that you gave us, but because there's only so many choices, I'm going to say D. Hello?
Hi, Ronald. I lost you. I didn't get your answer.
Okay. We discussed this in class, and you gave
Yes.
us verbiage for this, but that's not what's here. So I'm going to take a guess and say D.
B, repeat the words SOS 3 times. Okay, that's a good answer. I like that answer. Okay, Sean, which of the following effects might cause radio signals to be heard despite obstructions between the transmitting and receiving station?
I'll go with D, delta knife edge diffraction.
Okay, and Robert, what brief statement is often transmitted in place of CQ to indicate you are listening on a repeater?
Ooh.
Remember we did that when we broke into a conversation, or we just wanted to say we were listening?
Your call sign, A.
Yeah. So they say call sign. I'm giving up the answer. So I agree that this is the correct answer.
Yeah.
Normally in protocol they would say W2BMP listening, but W2BMP is fine too.
Okay.
So I gave that one. So you got that. So that doesn't really count for you, Robert.
Give me another one. Give me the next one.
All right. So the next one is, what is a reason to use a properly mounted 5/8 wavelength antenna for a VHF or UHF service?
Let's see here.
Okay, that was a toughie.
Yeah, I
you
know
shouldn't
it.
have volunteered.
Well, let me see this.
Take your time. No rush. There's no time limit on the exams. Okay, so
I'm gonna go with C.
C, it offers a lower angle of radiation and more gain than a quarter wave antenna and usually provides improved coverage. Okay. Let's see, we're up to Charlotte. Charlotte, what frequency range is referred to as HF? This is a little bit tougher. So what I would suggest, Charlotte says D. Okay. Is you try the process of elimination if you get to a tricky question. Dana, you're up again. What happens when the deviation of an FM transmitter is increased? So the deviation is increased. What happens to that?
C, Charlie.
Okay, it occupies more bandwidth. Okay, Gloria. Gloria, I don't know if your mic is working. If it's not working, you can just text me. If it's working, I'd love to talk to you. Which of the following types of emission has the narrowest bandwidth? So the one that uses up the less amount of space in the bands. So you can either type me your answer or you can turn on your mic.
She answered.
C, yeah. Okay, I like that answer. Okay, Miranda, what is the approximate amount of change measured in dB of a power increase from 20 watts to 200 watts? No problem, Gloria. I understand. Gloria says she still has laryngitis. So what do you think, Miranda? How many dB gain is that?
I'm going to go with...
I'm sorry, did you give me an answer, Miranda?
I'm going to go with 18.
Okay, you say 18? Okay. If you disagree, just write it down on a piece of paper. And if you agree, you can also write that down as a piece of paper. Peng, are you with us? I see you logged in. I just don't see you with any audio device. Okay. I don't get any message. Oh, Peng, 16, D. So which 70 centimeter frequency is authorized to a technician class holding an ITU? And you said D. Okay. Ronald, you're up next. Who may select the vanity call sign for a club station?
Hang on.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to say B.
B. Only the person named as trustee on the club station license grant. Okay. Sean, which of these components can be used as an electronic switch or amplifier?
That would be alpha, A, transistor.
Okay, thank you. Robert, you're up next. Which of the following is a safety hazard of a 12-volt storage battery?
A.
Shorting the terminals can cause burns, fires, or an explosion. Wayne, good evening, Wayne. Which of the following methods is used to locate sources of noise interference or jamming? So
I can't see the
at
choices. I can't see the choices. I think my screen froze up here. Can you read the choices?
Sure,
Can
the
you hear me?
choices are, so how can we locate a jammer is basically the question, or any other noise interference. The choices are Doppler radar, radio direction finding, phase locking, or echolocation. Once again, it's Doppler, radio direction finding, phase locking, or echolocation.
And the question was?
How can we track down a jammer or a source of interference?
Echolocation.
Okay. And we'll go back up. And Charlotte, you're up again. Which of the following precautions should be taken when measuring circuit resistance with an ohmmeter? Charlotte says B, ensure the circuit is grounded. I think we have a ringer here. I think Charlotte's been very quiet, and I think she's going to do well. Dana, which of the following may be included in packet transmission?
A.
Okay. DJ, if you're there, I hope you can hear me. DJ, what is an amateur station control point? What is a station control point? And I don't know if your mic is working, DJ, but if it's not, you can just text me and I'll see it. He says, C, location at which the control operator function is performed. Okay, Gloria, what type of electrical component stores energy in a magnetic field? All right, Gloria, look, no pressure here. If you get this wrong, you never heard of me, okay? No pressure. I don't want you to have any pressure here. It says, so you wrote down A, okay? Let's listen to that question one more time, okay? What type of electrical component, and we studied two of them, and they were capacitors and inductors, and one of them stores it in an electrical mode, and the other one stores it in a magnetic mode. Like the nail, when you wrap the wire around it. Anytime you see wire wrapped around, hey, she says inductor. A very wise choice. Okay, good. Let's see. Miranda, what is the resistance in a circuit for which the applied voltage is 12 volts and the current flow is 1.5 amperes? And remember, we're going to draw those circles, right? EIR, PIE, remember that? That's the easiest way to do it. So what I would do in a question like this is I would take my two circles and I'd draw them. And I would do this, right? And I'd see what we're looking for. This one looks good, right? Maybe that one, or we have the other one. It's not a power question, right? It's a resistance question. So I don't think this one is, we don't see resistance here, because I don't see any R. So maybe this is the way to go. So what do you think, Miranda?
Would it be 8?
I'm sorry, you said A? You said 13.5 ohms? Is that what you're saying?
No, 8. Letter D?
Yes, I'm sorry. So, I'm sorry, which letter?
D?
D? 8 ohms? Okay. Peng, which of the following connector is most suitable for frequencies above 400 megahertz? Peng says D, a PL259, the old PL259. Ronald,
Yes.
what is a commonly used method for sending signals to and from digital satellite? So
FM.
which protocol? Yeah. I'm sorry, Ronald, I didn't hear your answer.
FM packet.
FM packet. Okay. Sean, electrical power is measured in which of the following units?
Electrical power is in watts. Letter C,
Okay.
Charlie.
Thank you, sir. Robert, when should members of a tower work team wear a hard hat and safety glasses? Give me a break. You always get an easy one, and then you're going to get a hard one. So
I
what's
know.
the answer?
I like it. D.
You said at all times, B or D?
D. D. D is in dog.
Okay. D is in Delta, actually. All right, but go ahead. So now you got this one again, Robert, because I'm not giving you that question. What term is commonly used to describe the rapid fluttering sometimes heard from mobile stations that are moving while transmitting?
Picket fencing.
All right, excellent.
Can I get
Wayne?
one?
Yes, sir.
Wayne? Yeah, I'm sorry?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Wayne, what is a disadvantage of an air core coaxial cable when compared to form or solid dielectric types?
I'm still seeing you at question number 15. I don't know if it's my computer or yours, but I see the chat room coming up, but I don't see your technician exam advancing.
All right, hold on. Let me unshare my screen, and I'm going to share my screen again. See if that refreshes your screen. Did that help?
No, I still don't see anything. No.
Okay. All right. Well, they asked you a question. So the question is, what's the disadvantage of using air core coaxial cable when compared to a foam cable or a solid insulated, well, not insulated, but a solid cable, dielectric type? So the disadvantage, it has more loss per foot. It requires special techniques to prevent water absorption. It cannot be used below freezing temperature, or it cannot be used for VHF or UHF. So when should it, or what is the disadvantage? One more time. It has more loss per foot. It requires special technique to prevent water absorption. It cannot be used below freezing, or it cannot be used for VHF or UHF.
I'm going to go with B.
Okay. All right, we're back here on top to Charlotte. And Charlotte, what best describes a relay?
Huh.
And Charlotte says D. A switch controlled by an electromagnet. Thank you, Charlotte. Dana, when may an amateur station transmit without identifying?
C, Charlie.
Okay, when transmitting signals to a model aircraft. And DJ, which of the following is true concerning the microphone connectors and amateur transceivers? And DJ says some connectors include push-to-talk and voltages for powering the microphone. And Gloria, you get the honor of the last question. Which of the following is a purpose of the amateur radio service as stated in the FCC rules and regulations? What is our purpose? And Gloria says A. All the choices are correct. Providing communications for international nonprofit organizations, providing personal radio communications for as many citizens as possible, advancing skills in technical communications from phases of radio art. Okay, ready? Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, we passed. Okay.
Oh, barely.
All right, let's go over the questions that we got wrong. Okay. So Hertz was right. PTT means push to talk. If you're over deviating, just talk further away from the microphone. That's all over deviating means, okay? Which is always an appropriate receive filter bandwidth to select in order to minimize noise interference. So it's the smallest one. CW, continuous wave, Morse code, is the most efficient, uses the less bandwidth. So in order, the filter that we use would be the smallest possible filter, and that's why we get 500 hertz, okay? And that's the most common CW filter that you can use, by the way. And that's just to make the signal, CW signal, clearer, okay? This one was correct. When we want to retransmit, a repeater does that, okay? Light emitting diode, excellent. I hope everybody does this well. So anytime you see a little arrows leaving, okay, from a little triangle, that's LED, excellent. What is the average duty cycle, the percentage of time that you're transmitting? That's correct. Remember that duty cycle isn't really concerned with receiving, only with transmitting, okay? Which of the following is accepted practice to get immediate attention from net control? Actually, this answer is not really incorrect, okay? So that's what I really taught you, and I apologize. But again, they wanted you to And I think the question was to practice, is accepted practice to get the immediate attention. Okay, so anybody have a different answer?
C.
Charlie.
Yeah, I think it would be C. Okay, so you can use priority, emergency. Break is a little strong, but you could use priority or emergency. Okay, I guess if you have an emergency, break is appropriate. But I wouldn't beat yourself up about this. Again, we want to just grab somebody's attention, priority, emergency. Man, I'd use anything. I'd use Mayday. I'd use whatever. But, okay, it's just one of those. Where could you be heard despite obstructions? Knife edge diffraction. Does everybody understand that? I'm just going to make that. All right, cool. I'm glad you said that. If you don't understand something, then I want you to tell me, okay? So here's Joe. I'm here. And here is a tree, right? And I want to talk to, who do I want to talk to? I want to talk to Charlotte, right? Okay. And actually, the tree isn't a good idea. Let's make it a building, okay? Got this big, gigantic building, okay, here. All right? And I want to talk to Charlotte. But Charlotte, there's this big building in between us. So what will happen is my signals will go out. They won't go, on 2 meters especially, they won't penetrate this building, okay? I can't go this way. But enough of the signal will go and it'll hit the top of this building, and then it will start to refract. So this will be an area, so every place you see the mark, you'll see this is the signal traveling, will be here. There won't be any signal here. It just falls off the knife edge. And it's called knife edge refraction. Okay, she may hear me, may not hear me, so all she needs to do, if she knows that we have this obstruction, just move 1 foot or 2 feet in either direction, and she'll probably get into a path where my radio signal is. So it bounces off the top of the signal and kind of just falls off. Okay, and then more signals go here and here and here, but some of them will just fall off the top of the building. Okay, does that make it clearer? It's called knife edge diffraction. Okay, good job. Okay, so when we're on a repeater, the best way to break in is just to say that you're listening, your call sign, W2BMP. Most commonly, what you'll hear is W2BMP listening, okay? Which means I'm here. If you want to talk to me, fine. If you don't want to talk to me, that's okay too, you know, that kind of stuff, but that's it. All right. What's the reason to have a 5/8 antenna over a quarter wave antenna? Yes, it provides for improved coverage. Normally, the longer the antenna, the closer to full wave, the better coverage you have, the better performance you'll have. The reason is, if you remember, the reason we cut it down is we don't want one of these 6-foot antennas hanging off the back of our car. We make a right turn at 30 miles an hour and we kill the neighbor's dog, right? It doesn't look good. Besides, Charlotte said she would never go out with anybody that shows up to her house in a Pinto with a 6-foot antenna. No way. It's not happening. Okay, so the longer the better. 5/8 bigger than quarter wave, so it's more efficient. Okay. All right, what frequency is referred to as HF? And this is kind of a pain in the neck question. So you got to do it by process of elimination, right? So HF is anything that's not 2 meters 70 centimeter, right? Charlotte says C with a question mark. Well, I don't know. I'm sorry, Gloria said C with a question mark. So Gloria, either commit to C or you don't commit to C. What do you say? And of course, she's typing because she has laryngitis. C. That's it. I want affirmative. So, so what you do is you kind of eliminate, right, as many questions, as many of these as you can. So we know that, for example, let's see, who am I going to pick on? So, Ronald, we know that 2 meters starts with what frequency? How many megahertz?
Oh, crap.
Ah, come on, you know it. Very simple.
2 meter.
Yeah,
About
about 144 megahertz, right? 144 megahertz, right, in that area. So we know that 300 can't be because HF is not 2 meter and not 70 centimeter, right? 70 centimeters up at 440, 2 meters at 144 approximately. So this is too high, okay? So that lets out that answer. This answer falls into the same thing. It starts okay, but we're back into this 300 megahertz, and we know 2 meters, 144 megahertz. So that can't be right.
I've seen this question 100 times on the, it's C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But I want you to know why we got there, okay? So the answer is C because that falls within, it's not 2 meter, right? 144 is 2 meter. Question?
Yes, I'm having technical difficulties trying to get a computer where I can actually see. So what does C say? What is
The answer
that
C,
C says?
yeah, C says 3 to 30 megahertz. So that makes sense. Remember
Okay,
that 2
thank you.
meter is 144 megahertz, right? So it's below that, so that's what HF would be, okay? What happens when deviation of an FM signal is increased? It occupies more bandwidth. It makes you lose your hair. It gives you constipation. It's just awful, okay? And it uses more bandwidth. So we don't want that, okay? So we don't want over deviation. Which of the following types of emissions has the narrowest bandwidth? By definition, Gloria writes down, so that's what's wrong with me, over deviation. Yeah, maybe. I know I've over deviated many times. Anyway, which of the following types of emission has the narrowest bandwidth? CW, continuous wave, Morse code. That's why it's still so popular, most efficient, uses the least amount of bandwidth, most amount of efficient use of energy. Okay, what is the approximate amount of change measured in dB? This is one of those things that you kind of had to memorize. Remember the dBs I told you to memorize? And my answer is 10. Why? Because we went from 20 watts to 200 watts. So that's a 10-fold increase. And a 10-fold increase is 10 dB.
Please show them the formula on doing stuff like that, Joe, because there was a question that, another alternate question that came up when I was running through these practice exams.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the numbers they used, but, you know, the answer I chose using just basically like you would do here, 20 divided by 200 would be 10, of course.
No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah,
no,
it doesn't. Yeah. dB doesn't work. The ones that I want you to know, okay, for this exam, okay, very simple. They're on that tech study sheet, okay, and what I want you to know here is the ones that I indicated. It's the only ones you'll see on the exam, and it's here someplace.
All 5 different exams?
All 5 different exams. It's only a couple of them that you need to know.
Down.
Down. Here. So these are the ones I need you to know. Okay, just these 3. On all 5 exams, 3 dB is twice the amount of power, 6 dB is quadruple the amount of power, and 10 dB is 10-fold increase.
Okay.
They won't ask you any other ones than those, guaranteed. Okay, so it's much easier. I'll give you the formula, but it's much easier if you just memorize these. Okay, just know them upside down and backwards. Okay, just like we know that inductors store energy in a magnetic field and capacitors store energy in an electric field. Very important. If it's on this sheet, they will ask you the question. Okay, so the formula is so dB is equal to 10 times the log, forgive my, I'm writing with my mouse here, the log of the reference power over the measured power. So in this question, it would be 10 times the log, and we can use the log button in our calculator, right? So the measured power was 200, okay, and we started with 20, all right? And then we do the math, and then we do the log, and you'll see it comes out to 10, 9.7 something or other. Okay, that's the formula, but I don't want you to worry about the formula. I'm just pleased that you know that there is a formula for that. Learn it this way. So this is the way I want you to really kind of know it. Just memorize it, and you just breeze by the question. Okay, you don't get stressed out. The important thing is that you don't get stressed out. All right. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next one. Let's see. 70 centimeter frequency. I need you to know these two, right? So I need you to know 146, 2 meter. 44 anything, 70 centimeter. I want you to know it backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. So if I say to you,
a real easy way to remember this, if
Sure.
you remember the two frequencies, 146 and 443, and there's two numbers, 2 and 70. The 2 is smaller, the 146 is smaller. 70 is bigger, 443 is bigger.
Okay, that's great. That's fine with me. Everybody got that? So remember two frequencies, 146, 443. The 2 meter is the smaller of the numbers, so 146, 2 meter. The larger number, 70, is the larger number, 443. I don't care how you memorize it, okay? Is this answer different in different regions? I don't know what question we're referring to. The answer is, oh, this one? No, it's still considered. Remember that we call this 2 meter 70 centimeter because we're measuring the actual wave. Okay, on this frequency, the wave takes 2 meters, about 6 feet, to make one complete cycle, and that's universally true no matter where in the world you live. So, principle of physics. That's why this is called 2 meter, and this is why this is called 70 centimeter. Okay. All right. Did I say region 2? I'm sorry. If I said region 2, I apologize. It's true no matter where it is. Who may select the vanity call sign? Whoever answered this question, excellent job. Okay. The trustee of the club is the only one who can request any call sign. Okay. So when you set up a club or you set up a repeater, we have trustees, the person who's actually responsible for the whole shoot and match for the club or for the repeater. And he's the one or she's the one that that decides on call letters. All right, which components can be used in electronic switch or amplifier? I told you it was on the question. I told you it was on the test. It will be. Transistor, 2 functions as far as we're concerned in this class. Switch or amplifier, okay? Which the following is a safety hazard? Don't short the battery out. Don't burn yourself. Don't set fire to the to the house. Okay, next one. Which of the following method is used to locate sources of noise, interference, or jamming? It's always done with direction finding equipment. Okay, that's how we find it. That's how they find airplanes when they go down. The emergency beacon, same thing, triangulation. Okay, so they have a station receiving on one side. They record how it receives it. Then station on another side, or a third station, 2 or 3 stations, and they use triangulation. Okay, they point the antenna, the Yagi antenna, wherever the signal is the strongest, and they plot a course. The next station may be 20 miles away or 50 miles away or whatever it is. They point their antenna until they get maximum reception, and then they draw a straight line out, and wherever those 2 lines intersect, that's where the source of the signal is. Okay, radio direction finding. So we want to find the jammer, radio direction finding. Which of the following precautions should be taken when measuring circuit resistance with an ohm meter? Good answer, but not the right one. Ensure that the circuit is grounded. Anybody have another idea?
Not
Power
D.
problem.
Yeah, make sure there's no power in it. Yeah, make sure. So be careful. Make sure that there's no power in it. And the reason that we want you to know this is because you're going to open up your power supply, and inside your power supply there are dangerous things called
Capacitors.
Yeah, okay. And we want to make sure that you're not plugged in. And even when it's not plugged in, we want you to be careful. Okay, which of the following may be included in packet transmission? And the answers were checksum, which permits error detection, a header information that contains the call sign, automatic request in case of an error, or all of the choices?
A.
Anybody have a different answer?
Delta.
Delta. Yeah. So packet transmission, and we didn't cover this too much in detail. There's only one question on one of the exams on packets. So a packet is a computer signal. It's like a little envelope, and it contains a request. Number one, that you get all my information. If you didn't, I'll send it again. So it's computer to computer. It contains the information, who's sending it, who's receiving it, the message inside, and an automatic repeat request. Hey, if you didn't get my message, I'll say it again. So again, I apologize if we didn't go into this in enough detail, but you should have read the manuals. So there. Amateur control station control point is where we control all the stuff. That's the control point. That's why, hence the name, control point. That's where we control it. What type of electrical component stores energy and magnetic field? If you get this wrong, I will have to come and beat you, okay? So we store energy two ways for this class, okay? Capacitors and inductors. Inductors, magnetic. So remember, inductors, magnetic. Inductors, magnetic. Inductors, magnetic. So if they ask you how do we store it electrically, you know it's a capacitor, okay? All right, good job. What is the resistance of a circuit which applied voltage is 12 volts and the current flow is 1.5 amperes? We drew the circle, EIR, all right? And why didn't we use pi, PIE? Because PIE doesn't have, is for power, number one, and we can't compute resistance. And they're asking you for what is the resistance. So we use the EIR. We solve for R. We put our thumb over the R, so we don't know what it is. We put in the other values. We got 8 ohms. Excellent, excellent job, whoever had this question. Okay. Which of the following connectors is most suitable for frequencies above 400 megahertz? Anybody have another answer besides PL259?
EB25?
N connector, B.
All right, somebody says N connector. N connector is the preferred choice, okay? And remember, you can always look at this, okay? And the reason that this is used, because as the frequencies increase, the connector needs to be a little bit more streamlined. If you look at an N connector, it's a little bit more efficient, a little nicer made. PL259 is a very old connector and not quite, it's bulky. It's much bigger than an N connector. That's the reason. Okay. What is commonly used? A commonly used method for sending signals to and from a digital satellite? FM packet. Remember, we're talking to a satellite. We're not talking to a human being. So those are the little packets we're sending. FM packet is correct. Electrical power is measured in following units. Watts. That's correct. When should members of a tower work team wear hard hat and safety glasses? Duh, all the time. Okay. What term is commonly used to describe the rapid fluttering? As soon as you see rapid fluttering, the answer is picket fencing. Rapid fluttering, picket fencing. They love this question. All of the exams have this question. Okay. So if you see rapid fluttering, the answer is picket fencing. Okay. What is the disadvantage of air core coaxial cable? Okay. So if we look at cable, it's how the cable is lined on the inside, not the center core, but inside. What kind of dielectric it has? We call it dielectric. It's the other side of the cable. The cable always has two parts, the center core and the dielectric. And the problem with having air core, which is just vacuum air, okay, is that water gets in there. Any place there's an empty space, water will get into. So you have to have the special connector and this tape and this glue and this thing, and not worth it. Not worth it. Okay. This describes a relay. Perfect answer. A switch is controlled by an electromagnet. Okay. Perfect. Perfect example of a relay. Your starter motor in your car. Next time you start your car, right? You turn the key. That's a switch. Controls electromagnet. Sends the signal to the relay on your starter motor, and it operates this big gigantic motor, okay, which starts the car. All right, a station transmit without identifying when you operate a model aircraft, RC car, airplane, whatever. And even then, you have to have your call sign. You make up a label with a label maker or get a fancy plaque or whatever. You must have your call sign on the transmitter. Okay? All right, which of the following is true concerning microphone connectors on amateur transceivers? The correct answer was some connectors include push-to-talk and voltages for powering the microphone. That's absolutely correct. Okay? So microphone connectors have power normally connected to them so that when you hit the push-to-talk button, it switches the radio from receive mode to transmit mode. That's all that means. Okay? Which of the following is the purpose of the amateur radio service? And the answer was, the possible answers were providing personal radio communications for as many citizens as possible, providing communications for international nonprofit organizations, advancing skills in the technical and communication phases of the radio art, and all of the above. All of the above was not correct. The answer is C, I agree. Yeah. Advancing the skill and communication phases of radio art. This is not, we do a lot of physics here and a lot of electronics, but there's more to it than that, and that's why I'm involved in it. So it's really an art to get all of these things working together and get your message across. There's this definite art component in here, okay? So it's not, you could have the best radio, the best antenna. If you don't know what you're doing with it and don't know how to operate it, you won't get your message across. So there's an art to it, definitely, okay, as there is in every science. Okay, let's try one more. All right, and we're going to ace this one. I can feel it, okay? So we're going to start up at the top with Charlotte. Charlotte, what might cause erratic changes in SWR readings? And Charlotte says a loose connection in an antenna or feed line. I like that answer. Dana, under what circumstances should you consider communicating via simplex rather than a repeater?
B. Bravo.
When the stations can communicate directly without using a repeater. Okay, I like that answer. DJ, what is the basic unit of inductance? DJ says the ohm. Okay. Gloria, why should you not set your transmitter frequency to be exactly at the edge of an amateur band or subband? How come? Huh? So why shouldn't you be right at the edge of any band? Gloria says A. All of these choices are correct, and the choices are to allow for calibration error in the transmitter frequency display so that modulation sidebands do not extend beyond the band edge, and to allow for transmitter frequency drifts. He says A. We'll see. Okay. Hi, Linda. How are you? You're muted. I hope you can hear me.
I'm a little frazzled because I had a lot of technical difficulties. So
oh, okay.
Go ahead,
you want me to skip past you? You want me to skip past you one turn?
Yeah, I mean, yes, because my brain
no
is
problem.
Just trying to settle in.
No problem. Miranda says she's more than happy to answer this question for you, and then we'll get you the next time around. Right, Miranda? So Miranda says, when may amateur radio operations use their stations to notify other amateurs of the ability of equipment for sale or trade? When can we say, hey, we've got some stuff for sale? What do you think, Miranda?
I'm going to go with D.
You're going to go with D, you said?
Yes.
D as in David? Okay. All right. Peng, which term describes the ability of a receiver to detect the presence of a signal? And we kind of discussed this when I showed you the two radios. You said C, sensitivity. Okay, that's a good one. And for those of you who can't see the screen refreshing, so they want to know what describes the ability of a receiver to detect the presence of a signal. The choices are total harmonic distortion, selectivity, sensitivity, and linearity. Okay. All right. Prahub, what is the characteristic appearance of a cold solder joint? So how do you know if the solder joint was done incorrectly?
I'm going to go with A.
A, grainy or dull surface. Okay. Ronald, you're up to bat here. Why should the outer jacket of coaxial cable be resistant to ultraviolet light?
Okay. I know this one.
All right. Excellent. So do I.
I think it's A.
A, ultraviolet and RF signals can mix together, causing interference. Okay. Sean, who must designate the station control operator?
The station. The station licensee.
Okay,
Charlie.
great.
Yep.
Robert, which of the following is an application of APRS, Automatic Packet Reporting System?
Okay. This is a good one.
Well, we were on the breast cancer walk at Jones Beach, 73,000 people. We had 35 amateur radio operators covering the boardwalk, and they knew exactly where we were at all times because of APRS.
I'm going to go with B.
Okay. All right, thank you. Wayne, you're up at bat. What is the source of a high-pitched whine that varies with engine speed in a mobile transceiver's audio?
That's D, the alternator.
They love this question. I'm not saying it's the right answer, but they love this question. So make a note of this. I guarantee you'll have it on the test. Okay? All right. Charlotte, which of the following may be a cause of radio frequency interference? Harmonics, fundamental overload, all of these choices are correct, or spurious emissions?
So I'm confused maybe because I was having technical difficulties. So you're not saying if the answers are correct?
I'm sorry. So I'm getting feedback from you. I didn't understand you. That's all right. No problem. I didn't understand your question.
Are answers not correct? You're not identifying which answers are correct?
Charlotte, I didn't hear that at all. The audio was solo. I didn't hear it. You say C. All the choices are correct. Thank you. Sorry, you're having technical difficulties. Dana, which is a way to enable quick access to a favorite frequency on your transceiver?
D, delta?
I like that. So the answers were use scan mode, enable CTCSS, disable CTCSS, store the frequencies in a memory channel. And that's the one we chose. Okay? DJ, which of the following, I think DJ left. Okay, he says it's offline. Gloria, which of the following methods is used to locate sources of noise, interference, or jamming? Hey, we just had that one. Radio direction findings, he says. I would tend to agree. Linda, what should you do if another operator reports that your station's 2-meter signals were strong just a moment ago, but now they're weak or distorted? So they were good, now they're not good. What do you think we should do, Linda? No, Linda left. So, oh, Linda's back on. Are you there, Linda?
Okay, I am.
Okay.
I'm trying a different computer and had to upload. So what were you asking me? Just
So the question is,
something?
so you and I are talking on 2 meters, right? 146.850. One
Yeah.
of my flagship repeaters, and you were hearing me fine just a couple of minutes ago. All of a sudden, my signal got really crummy. What are you going to do?
I'm just looking at it quickly because I remember just moving a little bit can help a lot.
Yeah.
So I didn't read the other ones, but
Yeah, that's the right answer. So it's that a knife edge thing. Okay. All right. Cool.
okay.
Ping.
And
Good.
my question
Yeah.
to you before, Joe, was I thought there was a question just a few back that you said, I'm not saying if that's the right answer. So my question to you was, so maybe I missed something earlier, but you're not giving the right answers all the time?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to stay neutral. And the reason for that is you can disagree with the answers given, all right? And if you disagree, you write down the question number and just write yourself a note. That's not the one I would have chosen. So this way, everybody kind of gets to take their own test, okay? So the answers that are being given may not be correct. And besides, I like the suspense. We need a little suspense in this class, don't you think? Okay. So that's the reason. Peng, what can happen if a lead-acid battery is charged or discharged too quickly? He says B, the battery could overheat and give off flammable gas or explode. Remember, we discussed this, right? Okay. Ronald,
Yes.
what is the name for the flow of electrons in an electrical circuit?
Current.
Current. Wow, that was good. Good answer. Good, strong answer. I like that.
Amperage isn't there, so
Yeah. I like that answer. Good answer. Sean, how does the wavelength of a radio wave relate to its frequency?
Okay.
Wavelength and
The
frequency.
wavelength. Yeah, I guess I'll go with alpha. The wavelength gets shorter as the frequency increases.
Okay. So that's a good answer. And we'll go over the answers. Robert, what is a beam antenna?
B, one direction.
Okay. And who was the guy who invented that? Do you remember? That's not on the test. I just touched it.
Mr. Beam.
Mr. Yagi. Mr. Yagi.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Mr. Yagi. Yeah.
Okay. Wayne, what is the current flowing through a 100 ohm resistor connected across 200 volts?
What is the current flowing through a 100 ohm resistor connected across 200 volts? Hold on, I gotta get my calculator.
Good. Take your time. Take your time. No rush.
100 volts, 100 ohms, 100. Let me see here. 200 divided by 100. 200 divided by 100, and that's 2 amperes. 2 amperes. 2.
Okay. Thank you so much, Wayne. Okay, we're back up to Charlotte again. Charlotte, what is component 3 in figure T3? So they're asking you, what does this guy do? Charlotte says A. All right, a variable inductor. Okay, Dana, when must the station licensee make the station and its records available for FCC inspection?
D, delta.
That's right. I've never heard of that happening, but that's a good answer. I'm trying to stay neutral here. Gloria, what causes spin fading when referring to satellite signals? Why does that happen? She's guessing B. Okay, that's all right. Guessing is okay. Linda, why do exposure limits vary with frequency?
I'm not sure. It's got to be B through D. Let's see. Take a guess.
Well, let's take a step back, right? So I told you.
Wait. Okay, the human body absorbs more at some. Yeah, A.
Okay,
I think it is
excellent.
A.
See, I didn't even have to tell you, and you figured it out. Okay, that's great. That's great. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it was great. Okay. All right. All right. Peng, which of the following is an accepted practice of an amateur operator who has checked into an emergency traffic net? So what do you do if you're in an emergency traffic net? That's when we pass those radiogram things. Prahub says remain on frequency without transmitting until asked to do so by the net control station. Okay. Prahub, you're up next. Which of the following is true concerning grounding conductors used for lightning protection?
I'm going to say C. Sharp bends must be avoided.
Okay, I like that answer. Ronald, which of the
Yes.
following is true when making a test transmission?
Hold on.
No problem. Take your time. Remember, there's no time limit on the exam. You can go nice and slow. Center your chi, relax.
As in Baker.
B as in Baker. Okay. Station identification is required at least every 10 minutes during the test and at the end of the test. Sean, what electrical component is used to oppose the flow of current in a DC circuit?
Oh, that's delta resistor.
Sir. Okay. Robert, what is another way to specify a radio signal of 1,500,000 hertz?
Hertz. So that's 1,000,000. 1,500,000. So I'm going to say 1,500 kilohertz.
Kilohertz? Okay. And Wayne, which of the following might be happening when VHF signals are being received from long distances? And this happens all the time, by the way.
I'm going to go with B, Bravo.
Signals are being reflected from outer space. Okay. And
No,
Charlotte?
I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
Yeah, okay, no problem. No problem.
Actually, I'm going to go with the E layer.
Signals are being refracted from a sporadic E layer?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that.
All right, cool. Charlotte, which of the following is used together with an inductor to make a tuned circuit? Tuned circuit. That was that battery, Jesus, excuse me. That was that antenna tuner I had. Remember I showed it to you? I pressed a button because somebody asked me, do I have like an antenna for every band? I said, are you kidding? My wife would kill me. So I have that antenna tuner. And inside the antenna tuner, there was inductors and another thing. The two ways we store electrical energy. You're killing me here, Charlotte. I'm kidding. You know that, right? I say that with love. B, a potentiometer. Okay. Let me ask the question again, Charlotte. Okay. So in a tuned circuit is nothing more than an antenna tuner, right? And that was that black box underneath my radio. And I pressed a button, and that button tuned my dipole for different bandwidths. And really, inside of that tuner, there's only two components. One has stores energy electrically, and the other one stores it magnetically. That's what makes it work. So which one of these things on this list, right? So it says, the question says, I have an inductor, but I'm missing another component. You still want to stay with B? Oh, she changed her answer to C. Okay, let's see if that's right. I'm not saying that that was wrong. I'm just saying. All right, Dana, which of the following components can be made of 3 layers of semiconductor material?
A, alpha.
Okay. And Gloria, what is the approximate maximum bandwidth required to transmit a CW signal? Are you there, Gloria? Yes? No? Oh, no, that's okay. No problem. Answer is, okay. Answer is D. You say, so the maximum bandwidth required to transmit a CW signal is 2.4 kilohertz, right? Is that what you said? Okay. Yeah, I think so. All right. Linda, what may result when correspondence from the FCC is returned is undeliverable because the guarantee, that's you, failed to provide the correct mailing address? What can they do to you?
A, alpha.
Okay, revocation of your license. Okay, and Peng, you have the honor of the last question. Which agency regulates and enforces the rules for the amateur radio service in the United States? Peng says A. You ready, folks? Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. Much better. We went up to 11 points. Okay, we got 31 out of 35 right. So let's review this, okay? See where we are. What causes erratic changes in SWR? Loose connector, most commonly, okay? What circumstances should you be going to simplex rather than using a repeater? It's just common protocol and courtesy. Why tie up a repeater if you can go direct with another station? It also gives you a little bit more privacy, okay? What is the basic unit of inductance? The answer was given in the ohm. And does anybody have another answer?
C.
Charles.
Henry.
The Henry.
Yeah, Henry is the unit of inductance. Remember, inductance is the resistance of energy going to the antenna, inductance, and that's rated in henries, okay?
Want to know another way to remember that one?
Sure, I love it.
Hank Aaron was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Hank is Henry.
You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here, folks. I love it. I love it.
That's beautiful.
I love it. Okay.
I got to resort to anything I can.
That's okay. Hey, whatever works for me. Okay. Why should you not set your
25 years
transmit
in credit, never
frequency?
heard that.
Why should you not set your transmit frequency to be exactly at the band edge? Because you'll fall off. Okay. Sooner or later, you'll fall off. Does everybody understand that? Does everybody understand that concept? Let me just bring up my radio here, and I'll just give you a visual here. Okay, so if we go, I want you to visualize this in your brain when they ask you that question, because it'll throw you for a loop. Okay, so let me make this a little smaller here, so you can see. So this is a band. Pick a band, any band, right? So let's say we pick this one here on 10 meters. And we're going to transmit here at the very edge of this guy, okay? If there's something wrong with our radio or anything is awry, we'll fall off of here. We'll just we'll just fall right off of the band. And that's a no-no, okay? Major, major no-no, okay? Because the FCC is looking for that. They don't want anybody except in designated bands. So again, you have this whole place to play with. Never transmit either on this end or the far end, all right? It'll just cause all sorts of problems that we don't need, all right? Nobody does that. All right, so the answers were to allow for calibration errors, just machines, radios are just machines. There could be a calibration issue. You could overmodulate like this, and that'll cause the carrier to be outside of the band and transmitter frequency drift. Not so much with modern radios, but with the tube radios, which still are being used quite a bit, they do drift, and that'll cause a problem, okay? When an amateur operator uses their stations to notify other amateurs of the availability of equipment for sale, and the answer, and it's hard to see, I know it is, the answer is when the equipment is normally used in amateur station and such activity is not conducted on a regular basis. So you can put your radio up for sale if you just don't do it regularly. So if you buy a radio, you hate it, get on the air, say, hey, look, I have a this or I have a that, that's legal. Okay? That just happened in our club a couple of weeks ago. Somebody bought a QR radio, didn't like it, and they got on and say, hey, look, I have a Yaesu FT817ND, and I want to get rid of it, and he was able to sell it quickly. So it's okay. As long as we don't do it on a regular basis, that's the key word. Okay? What describes the ability of a receiver to detect the presence of a signal? That's called sensitivity, how sensitive something is. To be able, the only other possible answer would have been selectivity. The difference is selectivity, you have a bunch of people talking, one next to the other. The ability to just zone in on one signal, that's called selectivity. The ability to hear the signal from far away, sensitivity. Okay. What is the appearance of a cold solder joint? Grainy, dull. Okay. That means that when they soldered the connection, they didn't use enough heat. Okay, and it was in both parts of the circuits that were needed to be soldered weren't heated properly, and you get a very dull or grainy looking solder joint. It looks sloppy. So any little shock and that breaks off. You want a bright and shiny surface, okay? That's called a good solder joint or a hot solder joint. A cold solder joint didn't use enough heat, it's dull. Okay, why should the outer jacket of coaxial cable be resistant to ultraviolet light? The answer given, ultraviolet and RF signals can mix together. That was not correct. Anybody have another answer?
D, delta.
Yeah. Yeah,
water.
ultraviolet light. Yeah, ultraviolet light's the light that when you put something on by the window, a painting or a box or something, and it fades, the light fades. Ultraviolet light is what causes that phenomenon. Same thing that happens to coaxial cable. It deteriorates over time. Okay. Who must designate the control station operator? The station licensee. So whoever has the license for the station says you can use the equipment or you can. APRS. So I hope I gave you the right example. It's true. Sunday we were doing the breast cancer walk. We had APRS on. My wife was maybe half a mile from me, and she was sweet enough to bring me a cup of hot chocolate because it was freezing on Long Island on Sunday, and they were able to track her by APRS. So she left her station with permission. She brought me hot chocolate and then went back. So Net Control has a computer, can see where we are. Yes, sir.
Can I just sneak in a question? I wanted to ask
Sure.
this last session, but when you guys are doing your volunteer work and things like that, what band are you normally on? 2 meter or?
It depends. It depends on where we are. So Long Island is as flat as a pancake normally, but we do have these holes in certain towns. So for example, if you look at Long Island, it's a long island, right? So if we go north to south, we'll normally use 70 centimeter because it isn't too wide. It's only 12 miles wide at its biggest point, so that's fine. And if we're going to go the other way, east and west, we'll probably do 2 meter.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So depends on where we are and where we're working. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the main purpose of APRS. Okay, and I can show you this. Let's see. So there is this one site called APRS.fi, okay, and W2BMP. You can track people by their call sign. You can search, and here I am. This is where I happen to be, okay, and we can track Seal, W2, CTG, and you can see where she is, and that's where Seal is at the moment, okay? That's my wife. And you can track any ham radio operator that has APRS turned on, okay? So it's very, very cool. So you can see, for me to get to her, what the shortest route would be.
And every little red dot on there is a time span? Is that right?
Every little dot, yes. So I can track per minute where she was, or where she can track where I am. And if
Joe?
you do this, yes.
Does this extend to if you're at sea?
Excuse me?
If you're at sea, if you're on like a cruise ship or something, does this extend to that?
It extends worldwide.
Cool.
Yeah, you can go any place. So give me somebody's zip code. Somebody yell out a zip code.
460.
11366.
I'm sorry,
038.
038. Okay, so we can go there. And then these are weather stations, these WX, these are weather monitoring stations. So, and you can see right here, some ham operators here, W9, blah, blah, blah. And you can see this is a beacon, 146970. Here's another station. And then you can zoom out, and you can see, as we zoom out, it gets real. It gets really dense. It takes a minute for this to refresh. There's so many ham radio operators around, okay?
Nice.
But yeah, you can turn on APR. Very useful tool. Here, you can see a whole bunch. And again, my computer's a little slow because we're doing this web meeting thing. But here's another one, blah, blah, blah. So you can track by call sign, as long as they have it on. You have to have APRS on.
Right.
But it's very, very, very useful, and especially in tactical situations. So, okay, cool. So now you know what APRS looks like. What is the source of high-pitched whine that varies with engine speed in the mobile transceiver's audio? The answer is alternator, okay? Be careful. They have another answer, ignition system. That is not correct. The only device in an automobile that gives a high-pitched whine is an alternator. The ignition system may give you other noise, but it's not high-pitched whine. Okay? Be careful with this question. It appears on every exam. Make sure you answer alternator. Okay? All right. Which of the following may be a cause of radio frequency interference? And the answers were fundamental overload, harmonics, spurious emissions, Hale-Bopp comet, all of these things. You know, somebody's blender, all of these things can cause radio interference. What is a way to enable quick access to a favorite frequency of your transceiver? Store that in the memory channel. And that's what I have here when I was testing you before. This is my radio. So here I have, these are my memory channels. So I'll go start over here. So I don't have to dial these in. That's our home repeater. That's somebody else. This happens to be Aries frequency. And these are more repeaters and people that I talk to all the time. So these are all memory channels. Okay? And that's how you click on the little memory button and you can dial these frequencies. These are my most commonly used frequencies. I have 52 of them. Okay? All right. Which of the following method is used to locate sources of jamming? We discussed this. You got it right. Radio direction finding. Okay. Echolocation is not the correct answer. That's mostly sonar. Doppler radar detects altitude. Okay. And that's what that does. And radio direction finding is the correct answer. Okay. What should you do if another person is on 2 meters and they were fine, then a few minutes later they're not fine? Just move a couple of feet. Okay. And that's because of that knife edge propagation. Okay. What can happen if a lead-acid battery is charged or discharged quickly? I told you that it wasn't on the exam, and that was my error. It is actually on this exam. So lead-acid is your car battery. If you charge it or discharge it too rapidly, hydrogen gas does become in higher concentrations. It's produced, and it will explode. Even if your battery is one of the sealed batteries, it's still vented, and it still produces hydrogen gas. That's one of the disadvantages of lead acid. Okay. The name of flow of electrons in an electrical circuit, current. Okay. How does the wavelength of a radio wave relate to its frequency? The wavelength gets shorter as the frequency increases. Okay. So let me explain that one to you. So wavelength, right? So we talk about the wave going here, okay? As the wavelength gets shorter, okay, the frequency gets higher. The number of the frequency gets higher. All right? Okay. Let's go to the next one. Hold on. What is a beam antenna? Beam, Yagi, directional. They all mean the same thing. Okay? All invented by Dr. Yagi, directional antenna. What is a current flowing through a 100 ohm resistor connected across 200 volts? Who had this question? Who had this question here? Was it Wayne?
I did, Joe. Wayne. Yeah.
Okay, Wayne, how did you figure this out? You tell me. I
used the Ohm's law formula.
Okay. Which circle did you draw?
E equals I over R. All right.
Okay. All right. Do you understand how he did that? So there is no dishonor. Okay. Trust me. I was taking my extra exam. I did the same thing. First thing I did was I drew these two circles. Please do not be embarrassed or anything else to do this. I did it, okay? And this way, I can answer these questions correctly, all right? Once you see what they're looking for, okay? So they're talking about resistors. So right away, there's got to be an R value. Well, this one doesn't have an R value here. There's no R. You can't find R, so this one's out. So you know it's got to be this one, okay? And that's how you figure it out. or you can do it my way and just memorize all the questions, and you don't have any problem. Okay. Okay. Number 3. Anytime you see this, these little wire things.
Joe,
Yes. Yes. Was there a question?
could you go back to that last one, please?
Sure.
Could you go back to that last one, please?
Absolutely. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so then we're trying to find E, and so it is or no, we're trying to find R, and so
You're trying to find I.
let's
Right.
see.
So here's, let me do this again. That's really sloppy. I apologize. I'm doing this with
I'm
my
sorry,
mouse
I didn't see the.
No, not
I
at all.
can't.
All right,
I'm
so
sorry,
I'm
I
drawing
can't
this.
see the
I'm
drawing.
drawing. Yeah, I'm drawing the circle, right? And I got E on top, and underneath that I have I and R. Okay. Can you see my screen?
No, I can't. I'm sorry.
Okay. So I draw the circle, and I have E, and then I drew a line through the circle, and on the left-hand side I have I, and on the right-hand side I have R, right? And then I see what the question is asking me for. What is the current flowing? So current flowing is I, okay? So
Yeah.
anytime you see current flowing is I. So if you put your thumb over the I, so we don't know what I is, then we are able to find, we put in the values for E, okay, and R, okay? And if we do that, so connected across 200 volts, 200 divided by 100, that comes out to be I equals 2. Does that make sense?
Okay, thank you. Yes,
welcome.
thank you. I for some reason I can't see the drawing. Thank you.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, so that was great. Next one, what is the component in figure T3? And anytime you see the little looks like a little chicken wire fence, okay? Think of it as wrapping around. Remember the very first video I sent you? Some guy took a nail, right? And he wrapped wire around it, and he hooked it up to a battery. All of a sudden became magnetic, okay? So that's what an inductor does, because it stores energy magnetically, okay? All right, cool. So it's a variable inductor, because inductors store energy magnetically. All right. When must the station licensee make the station available and its records for FCC inspection? Anytime they ask you for it is the answer. What causes spin fading? This was a guess, but you guessed correct. Spin fading is when the satellite is rotating, and it causes the antennas aren't pointing in your direction, and it causes a thing called spin fading. Okay? That's all that means. So that was a good guess. Why do exposure limits vary with frequency? Normally, the higher the frequency, so 70 centimeters more than 2 meters, okay? 1.2 gigahertz more than 70 centimeter. And then we get into higher frequencies, 2.5 gigahertz, 5.8 gigahertz. The higher the frequency, the more likelihood it is to affect human tissue, okay? Microwave, okay? Your microwave oven is nothing more than a radio transmitter. That's all it is, okay? It uses a special tube called a magnetron, okay? It's up in the 50 gigahertz range, and that's what it does, and that's the principle by which it works. It excites the water molecules in the food, okay, and they oscillate back and forth very quickly. They rub against each other, and if you rub two things together, you get heat, and that's how it cooks, okay, basically. So the answer is the human body absorbs RF energy differently depending on its frequency. Okay, the lower the frequency, the less the problem. Okay, all right. Which of the following is an accepted practice for an amateur radio who has checked into an emergency traffic net? The answer was remain on frequency without transmitting until asked to do so by the net control station. There's another variation of this question on the exam, on 2 of the exams. And that question is, when may you leave an emergency traffic net? the emergency traffic net passes those radiograms that I sent you guys. Remember I told you it was so important to be a part of that? You may not leave an emergency traffic net without permission from net control. Okay? The way you would do that is you would say W2BMP requests permission to secure. The reason for that is they go through all of these messages and you're falling asleep because they have nothing to do with you, but there might be message number 21 that has to do with your next door neighbor. Okay? And once you're in and they say, okay, W2BMP, I'm located in Hicksville, New York, they know to pull all the Hicksville, New York traffic and put it into the database. So if I need to give a message to somebody who lives down the block or 2 blocks away, they have somebody available to do that. They know I'm here. If I just leave the net without permission, then they're talking to me and I'm not there. Does everybody understand that? Yes, sir.
Okay, I got a question. All right,
yes,
about this whole emergency net.
Traffic net. Yeah, traffic net.
Yeah, I live in Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. My parents, they're elderly. They live in upstate New York. Okay.
Right.
Suppose I need to get somebody over to them. Okay.
Right.
I mean, how would I go about initiating this emergency net and get somebody over there for a wellness check or something like that?
Okay. So in Florida, okay, depending on the town that you live in, let's say my parents live in Hollandale, Florida. So let's say in Hollandale, I just Google traffic net Hollandale, Florida, or go to ARES, A-R-E-S, in Hollandale, Florida. They always list the traffic net, okay? And they'll tell you the frequency that you need to be on, right? So if all I do is I just go to Google, I like Yahoo, right? ARES in, let's say, what town are you in?
I'm in Fort Pierce.
Fort Pierce?
Yeah, P-I-E-R-C-E.
P-I-E?
R-C-E, correct. Romeo.
ARES in Pierce, Florida. Okay, so I just go here, okay? And there it is, Claire ARES, okay? So you would go to ARES, and ARES would list, or go here for one of these guys here, or the Fort Pierce St. Lucie Amateur Radio Association, and whatever. Let's take this one, and they will list on their website when the traffic net is clearly, as soon as it comes up. So you would tune in that frequency, and you say, I need to get a message to, and then you tell them whoever it is, and here we go, communications net. So they meet, and here's the information. And this is the PL tone. And they will get the message to you. Even though they only meet once a week, it's constantly being monitored. That's what NTS stands for, National Traffic System, okay? So it's constantly being monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you need to send an emergency message, or you want to check on somebody, that's who you would call.
Cool, okay.
All right?
Very
and that works, yeah, and that works no matter what, always, no matter what happens, and that's your job, ladies and gentlemen. That's part of the deal.
And
okay?
Joe, that system is on the repeaters, so...
It could be. It could be on repeaters, could be on simplex. Yeah, so normally it is on repeaters, but it could be simplex too.
Okay.
So we just had here in New York, we had a simulation on Saturday called New York Shakes. So we simulated an earthquake, okay, and the repeaters were down, okay. So we simulated that there was no repeater. No repeaters. There were, but we simulated that they weren't. So we did simplex checks, okay. So I transmitted to a guy 2 miles away. He transmitted to somebody else 2 miles away, and we got messages all over the country. All right? It's important.
Who organizes these things?
Various groups do that. So, excuse me, the American Red Cross was the one who sponsored this one. ARES sponsored it. Every club will let you know that it's being sponsored. When you join the ARRL, which I suggest you do, they send you monthly newsletters or biweekly newsletters, and they'll tell you. And I strongly, strongly suggest to you that you practice it at least occasionally, certainly every 3 months, every 90 days, because you get rusty. It's like anything else. If you don't use it, you lose it, right?
Right.
So you'll learn how to communicate. They'll tell you where to go, who you're talking to, and they give you test messages to send, all right? And they will simulate messages. And the whole idea is, you guys ever play that game at a party where you're in a circle and somebody says something and the idea is to whisper it to the person next to you and they whisper it to the person next to them, and by the time it comes around to you again, it has nothing to do with the original message, that the original secret that you gave?
Yeah.
Ever play that game?
Telephone,
Right.
yeah.
We don't want that. We do not want that. Okay, that's the opposite of what we want. So if we transmit this message 2,500 times to get to California via simplex, we want the last person in California to get exactly the same message that left New York. Okay, that's the goal here. That's why we practice. You can't anticipate anything. You know. So, and again, think about it, right? If you can't reach your loved one someplace because the phones are down, or heaven forbid, God forbid, you get a 9/11 like we had, and we're New Yorkers, right? Can't happen here. Think about how important this is, okay? Just to tell somebody that they're okay, that their family's okay. You know, there's no amount of money in the world that can buy that. So it's and we take it very seriously, okay, as amateur radio operators, okay? All right, cool. Question was, which of the following is true concerning grounding conductors, excuse me, used for lightning protection? No sharp bends. Okay, does everybody understand that? So here's your radio. Oh, let me draw something else. Here's our radio, right? And we're grounded, right? We have our ground here. It's outside. If we make a sharp bend and then we ground it here, lightning strikes, guess what? It's not going to happen. It will not follow this bend. It's the path of least resistance is the principle. So lightning wants to go in a straight, direct, as quickly as possible to get to a source to discharge. Since there's no ground here, because you made this bend, guess where it ends up? Back in your radio, and you can watch the fire and the smoke, and it'll smell terrible. Okay, that's the reason.
Kind of like your car.
Yeah. Which of the following is true?
So Joe,
Yes.
If there's like a gradual bend, it's okay, but a 90-degree bend is bad. But
no sharp turn. As gradual as possible. So something like this, very wide arc, not the best. I would prefer if you did it straight. Okay. And again, it's to protect your radio. Okay. And believe me, if once you've seen lightning hit your radio, it's not something that you forget. Okay, and then you say, oh yeah, that was on the test. Oh, you're welcome. Which of the following is true when making a test transmission? No matter what, you have to identify every 10 minutes. If you don't, they will get on your case. Okay? What electrical component is used to oppose the flow of current in DC circuit? Resistor. Hence the name, resistor. Okay. Another way to specify 1,500,000 hertz. Remember, one wave is 1 hertz. You have 1,500,000. Kilo means 1,000. Kilo means 1,000. So what the person did who had this question, I think it was Wayne that had this question, right? I don't remember.
No, I had the next one.
No,
all
it was
right.
the Greco family.
Oh, the Greco. Hey, they aced it. So all we did was we got rid of the last 3 zeros in 1,000 because we used kilo. And that's how we got the answer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Excellent. Which of the following might be happening when VHF signals are being received from long distances?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So remember VHF. Okay. 2 meter. Okay. 2 meter. It's being bounced off of the E layer of the atmosphere. Not so much on UHF, 70 centimeter. Everybody understands that distinction, right? UHF, it's going to Pluto, okay? UHF does not tend to bounce off of the atmosphere. VHF, yes, okay? And it's funny, I was in my car the other day and I was talking to a guy in the Nevada desert at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on 2 meters. It was amazing. All right. Oh, this one with the tuned circuit, okay? Okay. So tuned circuit, antenna tuner, has 2 components in it. It has an inductor and capacitor. Remember that. That's what makes it work, okay? That's why people manufacture to make these things and sell them to you at a lot of money, because they're super simple to make. Just an inductor and a capacitor. That's all that's really in them. That's how we tune the antenna length, okay? Which of the following components can be made of 3 layers of semiconductor material, okay? They're transistors. We didn't get into transistors too much, but that's what they are, the semiconductors, okay? And what is the approximate maximum bandwidth required for CW? Shame, shame, shame on whoever had this question. CW. But the answer is, okay.
1500 hertz. No,
150 hertz.
150
Yeah.
hertz.
Very low.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
CW, very low, okay? Whenever you see CW, pick the smallest one, okay? That's why we use CW, all right? But you did good. What may result when correspondence from the FCC is returned is undeliverable? They have to know where you are, okay? It's very important. They cannot have you running around the country not knowing where you are. And the reason is you have the potential, not you guys certainly, but you have the potential to transmit a lot of energy, and you have some technical knowledge. They need to know that you're still with them. They want to feel secure, okay, and that you're not some terrorist someplace, okay? That's the reason. So you must let them know, or else they'll, yes.
Does this include short-term things like vacations and things like that?
No. You have to be away from the residence there for 270 out of the first 365 days.
Oh, okay.
If you get specifically to the, so it's 3/4 of the year. If you're more than 3/4 of the year away from your residence that you have listed, it's good to advise the FCC.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Joe, I'm looking to take my test, and we just so I'll have one address, but we just sold our house in the craziness. How long do you have approximately before you need to tell them about the change?
180 days.
Thank you.
6 months. You have 6 months to let them know that you're moving. Okay.
Okay.
And then who governs the amateur radio service? FCC. Okay. Any questions? Anything you guys are not sure about? Anything I can explain again, or I didn't explain correctly? You did really, really, really well. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is a couple of things for me. 3 things. Number 1, if you haven't answered the survey, please do so. It's very important. It keeps programs running. I have to justify. So we pay a fee to the web company here, GoToMeeting. We pay a monthly fee, and I have to justify that fee to the board of directors. So one way I do that is to say, hey, look, I had 25 people in my class, and they all answered our survey. So that's very important. So in order to keep this going, I need you to help me. Please answer the survey. Even if you hated me, that's okay. It doesn't ask you for your name or any identifying information. And the truth, however you felt about it, anything I could do better, please tell me. I want to do better every time. Number 2, what you can do for me is continue to take hamstudy.org, and after a while you'll see the questions repeat, and you'll just know them, okay? Don't be nervous. Remember, it's $15 for the exam. You cannot use an iPhone. They will confiscate your iPhone. You can only use the calculator that we agreed upon at the beginning of the class. Don't be afraid to use scrap paper. Draw those charts, okay? And number 3, please at least look into Aries. I'm not suggesting that you join Aries, but know where they are. Say hello to them. They'll try to elicit you to join them. That's a personal decision. That's up to you. At least know where they are. Listen into the nets. You can do that now without transmitting, without a license. And remember how to at least take the training that they do offer on the national traffic system. Think about it, right? So if you're stuck someplace and you couldn't get a message to or from where you are, it's nice to know that somebody would deliver it, hand deliver it for you, okay? So think about those three things. If you have any questions that you didn't think of, email me. I'm staying with you, right? And that's it. Anything else? Yes.
It might be a silly question, but you mentioned
Sure.
scrap paper. Do you bring your own, or would they get bent out of shape about that? Do they give you?
Oh, yeah, they will. They'll get totally bent out of shape. They'll give you scrap paper.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, they get totally bent out of shape.
And
So no, just show up with a pencil, number 2 pencil, $15, your FRN number, or
Gotcha.
your driver's license, okay? And I know you guys will do it. Gloria, class on Thursday. So I can't make it Thursday. I'm not sure. Tomorrow would work better for me. I don't know how everybody's schedule is. What I wanted to do is have 2 quick classes on the general for those of you wanting to take the general exam. I don't know how tomorrow works for everybody. If you can't make it, don't worry about it. I will record it, I promise. So I'm going to send an invitation. I have an Aries meeting on Thursday I forgot all about, and I have to go to that. It's as a result of the breast cancer walk. So I'd like to do the first half of the general tomorrow. We'll do everything except the math questions. And then next Tuesday, we'll do the, I can do Friday too. It's up to you guys. I'll send you guys an email. You guys tell me what works best for you, whatever the majority is. I can do Friday night, so I can do tomorrow night and Friday night. That works okay. Or tomorrow night, next Tuesday, whatever. And I strongly suggest you at least try the general, because it's free and you'll get a good idea for it. If you study a little bit for it, I know that you'll pass. Okay. Good luck, everybody. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. I had
Joe,
a good time.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much.
The pleasure was absolutely mine. All right, guys. Don't forget that survey, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too.
All right. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye. Good luck, everybody.